The wealthiest families in Switzerland are bracing for this weekend's referendum on a new inheritance tax. The measure would impose a federal tax of 50% on inheritances and gifts worth more than 50 million Swiss francs. That's about $61 million. The revenue would go towards fighting climate change. Now, the vote will take place on Sunday. A number of reports say the referendum, though, is unlikely to pass. Isabel Martinez is a senior economist at ETH in Zurich, and she joins us now. Good to have you on with us. And this is a topic that fascinates so many. Can you just let us know what's behind this referendum and why did the government decide to hold it? I mean, did officials believe that this tax against the rich, if you will, would prevail at a time when income inequality is really a winning issue?
No, so one thing to understand that is really important is that the Swiss democracy works such that any citizen can collect 100,000 signatures about the topic that they think we, the people, should have a vote on. And so this is a popular initiative that was raised by the young socialists. So it was their idea. It doesn't mean just because we're having a vote on it that it's necessarily backed by the government. The government has always said from the very beginning that they're against this proposal. But again, this is a fundamental part of the Swiss direct democracy that we vote on issues. And so one of the issues that we're voting on now is whether we should tax the very rich more and finance fighting against climate change with those revenues.
And that is what is so intriguing about this is that, this money is supposed to go to climate change, and yet you're saying that it's unlikely to pass and the government doesn't back it. Why not?
Well, there's a fear that the rich people that do live in Switzerland, many of them foreigners, because of the mild tax climate that Switzerland offers, will move away once you introduce this inheritance tax. So in the end of the day, Switzerland might lose more tax revenue than it might gain, because if somebody moves away, let's say 10 years before they pass, that would mean 10 years where they're not paying income and wealth taxes, right? Because Switzerland is one of the few countries that still has an annual wealth tax. So in the balance, Switzerland might lose more tax revenue than it might gain from the few inheritances that it would tax eventually.
And in fact, you say that Switzerland lives and breathes by this so-called tax competition, right? What I'm intrigued by is that, the vast majority of people in Switzerland really still want to protect that. They understand that these revenues mean a lot to government coffers.
Yes, because we have tax competition not just with other countries, but also within the country. So similar like in the US, you have different state taxes. So we have different cantonal taxes within the country. And people do really understand that when they think about moving into a new house, they think, oh, should I move, like just across the state border where I will pay less taxes? So it's really, people are not just aware of tax competition because of wealthy individuals from abroad moving to Switzerland, but also because even within Switzerland, it's very well understood, and it's understood that having more rich people means that the average taxpayer hopefully will pay less taxes. So it's really a fear that those taxpayers might move away. There's another fear though, and that is that entrepreneurs might move away and take jobs with them, which is maybe a less substantiated fear because an entrepreneur, the founder of IKEA is a nice example. He moved from Sweden to Switzerland. He lived in Switzerland most of his life, but that doesn't mean that it affected where IKEA was headquartered. It was actually headquartered in Luxembourg and the Netherlands for tax reasons.
Headquartered there and still with a lot of jobs in Sweden itself. This has been a fascinating look at this. We'll wait to see the results of the referendum, but I thank you for explaining that to us because as we've learned with so many things here at Quest Means Business, it's not always a simple issue. Isabel Martinez, appreciate it.
Thank you.